Now in this video, I'm going to guide you through on getting paid from Amazon Kindle. Now, here's how most traditional businesses work. Favorable profit margin for most businesses out there is about 25%, and this is by analyst standard considered very good, favorable, right? But they have to deal with all this. They have to deal with customers, they have to deal with suppliers, and worse, they have to deal with physical inventory. If you've ever been in businesses that requires you to do that, you know it's a lot of time and a lot of man hours and a lot of money being wasted on all these things. Now here's how Kindle works. When it comes to customer support, they do it for you. It's done for you. When it comes to ebook delivery, it's done for you as well. And when it comes to transactions, it's automated, it's done for you too. And yet your profits margin can be as high as 49% to 70%. Now how does each one of these works? Let me share with you how. Now for non-US citizens, they do have this thing called a withholding tax. If the sales come from US, Japan, Canada, India, Mexico or Australia, they may take up to 30% of royalties will be withheld by them. I will show you a more simplified version of this using boxes and percentages. Much easier. Now, this depends on where you currently are from that you're paying tax in. For example, in Singapore, we pay 30% of royalties and it's being withheld automatically by the US government, for example. But if you're from Thailand, for example, the withholding tax rate, at least as per this time of recording, is only 5%. So it depends on which country you're paying tax in already. Yeah. Now for UK, France, Germany, Italy, and Spain, it's 0% that will be withheld, which means all this money that you make is all for you to keep. I'll share with you in greater detail the split in a while. So the money paid out from Amazon is after taxes, which means whatever that you receive, whatever that I receive, is all for us. Right? There's no need for you to declare and pay the tax to all these different countries like US and Japan. So this includes the royalties that I share with you during the intro workshop, which means whatever I share with you so far, they are all after taxes. Now, how about locally? Let's say in your own country, do you need to pay taxes? Well, it depends. More of that in a while. So for profits that you'll make in US, Japan, Canada, etc., here's how it works. Let's say you decide to sell the ebook at $2.99. Now 30% automatically goes to Amazon, 70% will be further split with a 0 to 30% depending on the country that you are in, which will be withheld by the governments. Let's say the money comes from US, the US government will withhold that. Then the remaining will then go to you. So the net profits that you'll make will be from 49% to 70% depending on what's the tax withholding rate for the country you're currently paying taxes in. Now for profits that you make from UK, France, Germany, etc., it's much more clear-cut. Let's say you sell at $2.99, 30% goes to Amazon automatically, the remaining 70% goes directly to you. So the net profits is a clear-cut 70%. There's no withholding taxes. Yeah. Now, understand this, that if you don't do Kindle at all, no matter what the withholding tax is, your profits is always zero. So understand that in traditional businesses, there's a lot of things being involved, and most businesses can only get 25%. It's considered to be favorable by analysts. Over here, we're getting as high as, or as little as 49% to as high as 70%. There's no fight in this when everything else is done for you. Yeah. So when it comes to personal income tax, for Singapore citizens at least, based on the tax laws as per this time of recording, the tax laws state that any amount of money that you receive, as long as they're overseas income, like US, they pay it to you, etc., through checks or wire transfer, directly, even to your Singapore bank account, it is non-taxable. So you don't even need to declare this. Now this is for Singapore citizens. How about citizens outside of Singapore? Now it depends on your country laws. Sometimes it even depends on the state laws as well. So you have to double check with the tax department in your state. Yeah. So there are currently two methods of getting paid. Two methods. First one, checks. Now Amazon does have a 60-day delay of issuing the checks. So if you make the money in January, you only be paid about 2 months later. And banks do have heavy admin charges as well. They do have a minimum threshold. The last time I checked with Kindle, the minimum threshold is $100 for each of the currency. So let's say you're accruing money from US, right? They will accumulate it until 100 USD, then they issue you the check, which makes sense because after the bank charges, you will get much lesser than that, right? So this is not the ideal way of getting paid by Amazon because there is a long delay and there's a lot of charges in between. This is why I'm going to suggest to you to do this thing called electronic fund transfer, EFT. where Amazon releases the funds immediately via the EFTs, and they usually have lower charges, and they usually don't have a minimum threshold. So, challenge though over here, let's say you don't have a bank account in Australia, in a Western countries for example, then chances are they do not support remittance of this money into your bank account. So, if I have a Citibank account in US, I can do a direct fund transfer over there. But if I don't have one in the program itself, I will be sharing with you a workaround that, where you can still get paid via ETFs, where it goes in the online account, where you can then later withdraw it using the methods that is available. Yeah. So I'll share with you all this and more in the event itself. For now, I'll see you in the next video.